Alright, so you think you have what it takes to become an airsofter, but you don't know how to start? Well, luckily for you, you have me. You can call me Coach. But before you think you can handle things that even look like guns, you will need to learn all of this by heart. But don't you worry, I mean, it's not like it's physics or something. Oh wait, this one is. Wrong book. So today, Instinct will explain to you how to start this amazing sport. He will be covering everything for your first Airsoft day and all the related terms and rules you need to know. So that the next time a marshal says something and someone doesn't understand it, you can rely on that big brain of yours. But first, let's make the rules of this bootcamp clear. Rule number 1, I'm the coach, so when I speak, you shut up. Rule number 2, when I tell you to give me 10, you will give me 10. And rule number 3, you will finish every episode or you will not pass. You hear me, Maggot? Now, let's begin with our first lesson at Airsoft Bootcamp. But first, I want you to give me 10. Thanks, Coach, for the rather aggressive introduction. You're welcome. So, hi there, I'm Instinct, and welcome to our first episode of Airsoft Bootcamp. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button below. This helps us to help you guys out regarding these sometimes quite difficult subjects. Now, you most likely already know what Airsoft is, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. So, you know it involves guns and shoots 6mm DB projectiles with compressed air, and it's some sort of military simulation sport. Alright, so before you start buying any sort of tactical Gucci gear and BB spitting guns, you first want to play at least one game of Airsoft with a rental kit. We even suggest you to go 2 times, one indoor and one outdoor if you have the possibility, because there's quite a big difference between an indoor game and an outdoor Airsoft game. If you should take that to the outer extremes, you can even divide Airsoft in what's so-called Speedsoft and Milsim. You might want to search for the differences if you don't know what they are yet. It's up to you to decide which one you like the most, or if you like to do both, that's also an option, of course. So by doing it once or twice, you will get an idea if the sport is something for you without spending a lot of money. Now, how to get this done? Because the Airsoft community is quite close due to it looking so real. Well, that's what we're here for, isn't it? For this, you have 2 options. Option 1, if you know someone that does Airsoft, he or she can introduce you into the sport if he or she is willing to. Otherwise, he or she is just a prick and you can do better on your own. Option 2, if you don't know anyone or if they're not willing to help, pricks, your solution can be found on the World Wide Web. For this, just type in the name of your country and add Airsoft behind that in your browser. This can give you the next results, either online Airsoft shops, organizations, websites of local teams, or popular influencers. If this doesn't work, you can always try to join some communities on Facebook or on popular forums. Now that you've found a way to make contact with people in the sport, you need to get to know the answers to the next 4 questions. Question 1. Can I do Airsoft in my country? Some countries like Australia don't allow Airsoft and that's just bad luck, but you'll need to move somewhere else in order to play. Now, if it's allowed, you can go over to question 2. How old do I need to be in order to start Airsoft in my country? This differs from country to country. For example, in Belgium, you're allowed to start Airsoft independently at the age of 18. In some states in the USA, there is not really a required age, so it can differ a lot. Question 3. What do I need to know or to have in order to legally start the sport? Also, this differs from country to country. For example, in Belgium you can just hop into the field and start playing, while in our neighbor country, the Netherlands, you have to be registered as an introduction player by an official authority. And question 4. Where can I go play a skirm with a rental kit and how do I contact the organization? Some fields are only accessible if you're part of a club, at which everyone has their own kit. So that's not a big help for you as a starter. So look for organizations that provide rental kits for you to start with. When it comes to contacting such an organization, this can mostly be done through a website or through their Facebook page. Now, if you found a field, comply to all the legal conditions and are signed up to go play, you are nearly ready to hit the field. So, what do I need for such a day? First, you need proper boots that have some sort of ankle support. These can be hiking boots or something similar. Especially for the outdoor fields, this is a necessity, since there usually are a lot of spots where you can roll over your ankles. Secondly, you want to bring some food with you or extra money to buy yourself some lunch from the organization. Also, make sure to bring enough water with you, since you'll be running around like crazy and this will get you thirsty. Next, what can you expect on your first day as a rookie? First off, you will receive your rental kit. This will contain safety glasses and a face mask, or you'll get a full face mask with implemented glasses. But whatever they give you, make sure the eyewear is not made of mesh, because you then risk being shot in the eye due to a BB that can fragment on impact. If that's the case, you better ask for some more decent polycarbonate eyewear. You will also get an AAG airsoft gun, usually with a high cap magazine and BBs. Just a short explanation, AAG means automatic electric gun, so it runs on batteries, and a high cap magazine holds a high amount of BBs going into a few hundreds and needs to be wired with either a wheel or a string at the bottom. Also, a quite essential thing to know is that an airsoft gun is built in with a so-called Hopup system. In short terms, this decides how far you can shoot and needs to be properly adjusted, or you might never hit someone in your first day. For this, you want to look for the farthest straight BB path when shooting without the BB going straight up in the air. The Hopup is usually a dial located behind the ejection port of the gun. I say usual because this differs from gun to gun, but if you don't know how to reach it, or if you require some assistance to dial it in, just ask someone of the organization to help you out. You mostly also get camouflage pants and a shirt, what's also called BDU or Battle Dress Uniform. But we know some fields don't provide a BDU, so you better make sure to carry some clothes that allow you to move freely and, if possible, blend in. Above that, you will also get a basic explanation of the field rules and how such a gun works. At last, after the explanation, you'll witness your first briefing. Here, they usually repeat the field rules and get a full explanation of the game or games for that day. Next, we'll go over the terms and general safety rules used on these fields so you know what people are talking about. Let's start with a safe zone. As the word itself says, this is supposed to be a safe area, and here you are not obligated to wear any safety materials like ballistic eyewear or facial protection. For this, everyone's weapon may not have a BB in the chamber, the magazine has to be taken out, and the fire switch needs to be put on safe. Next, a common word used in airsoft when shooting with a non-loaded weapon is dry firing. This is also forbidden in the safe zone for safety reasons. Now, let's go over the FPS testing area. This will not be something you'll have to do when you use a rental kit, but it's good to know what it's all about, since you will need to test your gun if you have one of your own. So, what is an FPS test? Well, an FPS test, they measure the velocity or amount of energy your BB has when it leaves the barrel. This is done with an FPS meter, or also called a chronometer. This way, the organization can check whether you are not exceeding the maximum amount of energy to prevent people from harming their fellow weekend warriors. Now, since people will be shooting in this area, you will have to wear your safety eyewear. Also, very important, you may not load your gun until it is your turn to test. That being said. Then, we have the playing field itself. Important to know, before you enter this zone, make sure to put on your safety glasses and your facial protection. Now, regarding face protection. Some organizations don't obligate you to wear it, while others do. Anyway, whether it is obligated or not, we always suggest you to wear it, or you might end up with some expensive dental costs, since a BB can chip off a tooth or shoot it out. Alright, now you are ready to enter the playing field. So, before you start shooting at everything that moves, there are a few other rules we need to explain to you. For starters, you will be divided in teams, mostly separated by a colored band that you put around the top, left or right arm, depending on the team you're in. Just so you know, you want to avoid shooting people wearing the same color band as you do, or you're making a team kill. Depending on the organization, This either means your team member will be the one taking the hit, or you will be the one walking back to the respawn since you made a mistake. So, avoid shooting your buddies. Now, I just mentioned something called a respawn zone. This is a spot in the field where you will have to wait until a certain amount of time has passed, or until you are with a certain amount of people before you may go back into the action. Another thing that might occur is spawn killing. This means that the enemy team is shooting you when you want to leave the respawn zone. Depending on the organization, the enemy team will have to fall back, or you will have to give it everything you've got to push them back. One last thing to mention about the respawn is that it's still always a part of the playing field, so you are obligated to keep your safety eyewear on. Next, I'll go over the terms hit, knife kill and bang rule. The first one is simple: whenever you shoot someone, they are hit. At this moment, the person that got shot yells hit and raises his arm to identify that he or she got shot. This means the person has to walk back to the respawn or get help from a medic if they're allowed during the game. On some fields, you are required to use a fluorescent vest or red rag when you've got hit to walk back to the respawn. What also comes along with being hit is a dead man don't speak rule. This means you are not allowed to transfer information about the game until you are back from the dead. Another way of taking down an enemy is by knife killing them. Whenever you want to knife kill someone, you have to make sure you have a dummy knife with you. If you don't have a knife, you can't make a knife kill. The advantage of a knife kill is that the person who got taken down like this has to move to the respawn without yelling hit. Next, beside guns, also grenades exist in Airsoft, and a grenade kill is also possible, though the rules can vary from field to field, so make sure to listen up during the briefing. And finally, there is the bang rule. This is sometimes implemented in the organization's regulation to prevent you shooting at someone up close. For this, you don't shoot but say bang. This is mostly agreed for 0 up to 5 meters or so. Another thing that can happen is that you lose your glasses at some point during the game. Although that's very unlikely, in such a case you want to cover your eyes with your hands and shout blind man. When this happens, everybody has to stop shooting and shout blind man as well across the entire field. For this, the nearest players need to look for your glasses or guide you into the safe zone. Now, above this warning there will also be other warnings, but they are field specific. So that's another thing why the briefings are there. At last, you might see some people walking around on the field in either red plate carriers or fluorescent vests. These guys are called Marshals and watch if people play honest and follow the rules. One golden rule to follow: don't shoot these guys because they will take you back at some point. So, now you are aware of all the basics and you can enjoy a day of shooting at other people without risking your own life. So guys, have fun, be honest, take your hits and have an awesome day. For our next episode, we'll go to the next step, meaning getting your first quality kit to build upon in the future. If we've made it, the link will be visible in the description down below. Furthermore, if you're new to this, don't forget to participate in our quality monthly giveaways through our social media or reekinbrothers.com. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell button if this video was helpful to you. Thanks for watching and we'll see you on our next bootcamp episode.